Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Environmental Issues, and already we've completed 4 parts. Today in this video we will do part 5. Okay, now let's begin with the first question here. This question was asked in the year 1994. Largest amount of fresh water is found in dash. So you have 4 options here. See, overall if you see when we talk about this chapter, most of the questions are repeated, but one thing you need to remember here is these questions, whatever we're talking about, is a repetition, where they talk about BOD, where they talk about global tragedy, where they talk about the ecosystem, where they talk about the fresh water, where they talk about the different trophospheres of the ecosystem. So in general, if you know all this, I'm sure you'll be able to answer these questions which appear in this chapter. So even this question, if you see the largest amount of fresh water, again, this is a repeated question. If you had clearly watched the videos of the first 4 parts, you'll be able to answer this question now. We all know 3/4 of the earth is covered with water. And if you see, the most predominant or the fresh water in large amount is present in polar ice and glaciers. They have the largest amount of pure and fresh water without any dissolved salt or impurity. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option C. Next question here. Water is a resource of dash. What is this water actually? 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. Water, is it a non-degradable? Wrong. It is a renewable resource of energy, but become non-renewable if they are not used properly. So of course they are renewable. Depending upon the water or the rain that we get every year, we need to conserve water. Otherwise, again, it's going to be a non-renewable resource, because only when water is conserved you can have it for future use, because the groundwater level is how much you store or how much you conserve water. Otherwise it's going to become a scarce and it becomes a non-renewable resource. See, any resource when you take from nature, it has to be used properly, then only you will have the system continued. Otherwise, once it becomes scarce, even the renewable resource energy becomes non-renewable. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option C. Next question here. Rachel Carson's famous book Silent Spring is related to dash. Just because you have the word silent there, which is not related with noise pollution. See, Rachel Carson's book Silent Spring reveals the harmful effects of, what is this? A pesticide, right? It's a fatal pesticide, a non-degradable one, a liposoluble one. It has so many disadvantages. Okay, the writer opposed to the chemical industry in USA. This book influenced the national policy over pesticides use in many countries all over the world. So this book is actually a revolution, because after that, after knowing the impacts of all these pesticides and using of them in the environment, what will be the impacts on the environment, slowly the government and people came to know what are the hazardous things that will occur if there is continuous usage of these kind of pesticides or insecticides. So Rachel Carson's famous book Silent Spring is related to the pesticide pollution, which is option D is the answer. Next question here. Which one of the following statement is wrong in case of global tragedy? This question was asked in the year 2011, and let's analyze the statements here. Methyl isocyanate gas leakage took place. Yeah, that's right. Thousands of human beings died. That's right. Radioactive fallout engulfed Bhopal. That is wrong, because it is not associated with radioactive fall. It is because of the gas which is called as MIC, abbreviated as MIC, methyl isocyanate. When it got reacted with water, it led to the burst. The pressure, it cannot withstand the pressure, and the safety valve cannot control the pressure further, and therefore the system burst, taking many lives. And this took place in the night of December on 22/3/1984. That is also right. So out of the 4 options, which one is wrong? If you see, it is option C. Radioactive fall of or fallout engulfed Bhopal is the wrong answer. Okay, so a leak of methyl isocyanate gas and other chemicals from the plant resulted in exposure of hundreds and thousands of people who died in that incident. It was a major tragedy that happened, and even now people can recollect what happened there. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option C. Next question here, a renewable exhaustible research, natural resources dash. So let's analyze here. Coal is non-renewable, petroleum is non-renewable, minerals are also non-renewable depending upon the mineral you choose. The renewable exhaustible natural resource is forest. Exhaustible resources are those natural resources that are likely to be exhausted due to their continuous use. So if the pressure on it is so much, then the usage also is more. When the usage is continuous and an increased rate, you are actually using the above level. Imagine your mom gives you 5 chocolates. If you have 1 per day, you are losing 1. Imagine you're taking all the 5 one day. What happens? The rest of the 4 days you're not going to have the chocolate. Same system is followed here. It's not that you should not use the resources of the forest. You can use, but there is a limit for the usage. When you go continuously and when it goes beyond the limit, you're actually exploiting the resources and keeping nothing for the future generations to come. So a renewable exhaustible natural resource is option D, forest. Okay, next question here. Which one of the following statement is correct? We have to analyze the statements here. Both Azotobacter and Rhizobium fix atmospheric nitrogen in root nodules of the plants. Okay, which one of the following statement is correct, they are asking. Cyanobacteria such as Anabaena and Nostoc are important mobilizers. Okay. At present, it is not possible to grow maize without chemical fertilizers. Extensive use of chemical fertilizers. The first 3 options are wrong. The one which is correct is option D. Extensive use of chemical fertilizers may lead to eutrophication of nearby water bodies, thereby causing a threat to the aquatic organisms that are surviving in that particular water body. So the chemical fertilizers can be used. It's not that it should not be used, but again there is a limit, and the ingredients that you use in the chemical fertilizer should be in such a way that they can be degraded by the environment, and predominantly it should not be liberated into the water bodies, because it is a threat for the living organisms that are using or that is having water as their main source of survival. Okay, therefore the one which is right out of the 4 options is option D. Next question here. Lead concentration in the blood is considered alarming if it is dash. So that is a standard value for it. If it goes beyond that, it is a threat to the life of the person or the organism. The concentration level of the lead in the blood, if it is about 25, okay, 25 micrograms per 100 ml, okay, so any value above 25, okay, the standard value is 25, but above 25 it is said to be an alarming state. It might cause even death of the organism. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option B, above 25, but here you don't have related to it, so 30 micrograms per 100 ml is the answer. Next question here. Recently the government of India has allowed mixing of alcohol in petrol. What is the amount of alcohol permitted for mixing in petrol? This question was again asked in the year 2004, and this is a standard value. It is about 5% that the government has allowed. Alcohol to the tune of 5% is allowed to be mixed in petrol as per the government of India order, but above that it is not applicable. So what is the percentage allowed? 5%. Next question here. Which of the following is the use of lichens in case of pollution? We all know lichens will only grow in less polluted areas. So they treat polluted water? No. They act as bioindicators of pollution. What do they actually do? Lichens are sensitive to sulfur dioxide pollution, and they serve as bioindicators of pollution. Okay, they cannot grow in areas where there is sulfur dioxide in the environment, especially water or any moist surfaces. So what happens is they act predominantly as bioindicators of pollution. When you don't find lichens in that area, you can understand that the area or the water is polluted. Okay, so this is also a repeated question only. Next question here. At present, the most significant cause of dwindling biodiversity is probably dash. This question was asked in the year 1999. Okay, what do you mean by the word, what do you mean by the word dwindling? Maybe we need to analyze that. Only then you will be able to answer the question. What do you mean by dwindling? See, dwindle means it's to diminish gradually in size. What is it? Diminish gradually in size. Okay. At present, the most significant cause of dwindling biodiversity is probably the destruction of the habitat. Okay. Habitat's destruction affects the survival of the population, and it also ceases to have the effect on the biodiversity. So dwindling means diminish gradually in size. So how does it how does it seen, or what is the significant cause? If you see, it is the destruction of the habitat. Next question here. The worst environmental hazards were created by accidents in nuclear power plant and MIC gas tragedy respectively in dash. So whenever you have the word MIC, it is understood we are talking about the Bhopal tragedy which occurred in 1984. Okay, but here you need to remember that there is another clue. So you might have a chance to get confused because we've all been discussing about the MIC, methyl isocyanate. But here, if you see, there is another clue here. You're talking about a nuclear power plant. Okay, so Bhopal gas tragedy, where you had predominant part from MIC. But here they are talking about the worst environmental hazards were created by accidents in nuclear power plant. So we are actually relating to the, what are we relating to? So here we are not just talking about the we're not just talking about Bhopal, we are also talking about another system, another event that took place in Ukraine. So the right answer is option D. Don't get confused here. Just because you saw MIC, it's not that we're talking only about Bhopal. We're talking about Bhopal as well as Ukraine. The right answer is option D. The event that took place in Ukraine was actually, so you have the answer here. So it's called as Chernobyl tragedy, which took place in the nuclear power plant in Ukraine in 1986. And Bhopal, it took place in the year 1984 in the month of December. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D. Okay. River water deposits are mostly or predominantly dash. This question was asked in the year 1992. And you have the 4 different types of soil here: red, black, alluvial, and laterite. So now you should be able to tell what is the answer. Yes, the right answer is alluvial soil. So you want to know anything else about alluvial soil? Maybe I can explain something about it. See, alluvial soil is loose, unconsolidated soil or sediment that has been eroded, reshaped by water in some form, and redeposited in a non-marine setting. Alluvium is typically made up of a variety of materials which include fine particles. Then you have clay. Then you have silt and large particles of sand or gravel. So it's a mixture of all this. So whenever we talk about this river system, the deposits will be mostly alluvial soil. Okay, fine. Next question here. Domestic waste constitute dash. Very easy question, right? So domestic waste, are they non-biodegradable or biodegradable? We're not talking about sewage, we're talking about domestic waste. Domestic waste include peels of fruits, vegetables. Then you have food parts, which comes under biodegradable pollution. They are decomposed chemically by the action of microbes into harmless product and are recycled back into the atmosphere. Therefore, domestic waste are biodegradable pollution. Okay, next question. Joint Forest Department concept was introduced in India during the year dash. This question was asked in the year 2016. The joint forest management originated in which state? If you see, it is West Bengal. Accidentally at the Arabian forest, not Arabian, it's Arbari forest range in the West Midnapur, near Midnapur town in 1971. After the initial success in the West Bengal and Haryana, the joint forest management schemes received national importance in the legislation in 1988, but it first started in the year 1980s. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C. Okay, with this we complete the part 5 of environmental issues. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you and keep watching.